Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
The Pfizer vaccine finally makes its way into nursing homes. Coming up, we take you inside one downriver to show you those first shots.
A look back on the life of Sheriff Benny Napoleon. The visitation started today and the lines wrapped around the building.
An unthinkable tragedy for a local family. A mom was at home with the kids when her husband was killed in their driveway. Tonight, she's speaking about it. That father of two was shot and carjacked outside their home in Southfield.
This happened Sunday evening at the home near Northwestern and Franklin. As police look for the shooter tonight, Priya Mann spoke to a heartbroken wife and mother, trying to be strong for her children.
It was around 8 o'clock Sunday evening, and Ebony Hudson was at home in her quiet Southfield neighborhood. She says she heard shots and came running outside. That's when Ebony discovered her husband, Frederick, lying in the driveway.
I just can't get it out of my mind. I haven't been to sleep in 24 hours. It was devastating.
The father of two had been carjacked and shot in his own driveway. Frederick Hudson was hit in the chest and thigh and rushed to the hospital where he died.
It's an insurmountable loss. It can't even be described. I'm just in shock. I'm still not processing.
Ebony says Frederick had just come home after visiting a friend when he was shot and carjacked. They have two children, 19-year-old Jasmine and 11-year-old Frederick Jr. They were at home when their dad was killed.
He lived for his kids. He was the best man I ever met, the love of my life. He was a beautiful father, loving husband.
Southfield police found multiple shell casings at the home and are still looking for his 2013 Toyota Tundra.
I just want whoever did this to be brought to justice, to shoot him and take his car. He would have given you the car if you just asked for it.
Just days after Christmas, the Hudson family now planning a funeral, relying on their faith as they try to come to terms with this senseless tragedy.
That's the only thing I can rely on at this point. Just pray for us, everyone. Keep my kids in your prayers and myself. I've received hundreds of calls and texts, emails today. He was just loved by everyone.
And the family has set up a GoFundMe account to help cover funeral expenses and for the kids' college funds. If you'd like to help, we have that information up on clickondetroit.com. In Southfield, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
And again, the vehicle police are looking for is a white 2013 Toyota Tundra. The license plate is on your screen there, CPA 1749.
Visitation for Wayne County Sheriff Benny Napoleon began this morning. The sheriff contracted COVID-19 in November. In December, he was put on a ventilator, but he died on the 17th. Those who knew Benny Napoleon best talk about his passion for people and his community. And Nick Monticelli found those who didn't know him all that well say the same thing.
Lost someone who truly had a true compassion and care and concern for our city and our county.
The visitation for Benny Napoleon started early Monday morning, and so did the lines. Hundreds gathering, waiting patiently to say goodbye. Dearborn Police Chief Ron Haddad knew and worked with the sheriff for 45 years.
We really lost a giant here, but the saving grace is that Benny Napoleon showed a lot of us the right way to do things. So he left a great legacy, and we're all better off for it.
Benny's older brother Hilton stood at the front door greeting many as they came through.
It means so much. You know, these people are standing out here in the cold, you know, to honor my brother. And I love all you guys. And it is really a tribute to him and what he's done for the community.
Inside, a socially distanced viewing with honor guards from a dozen different departments helping with the crowds. What was interesting being inside the funeral home listening to those come through is that there were so many that of course knew Sheriff Napoleon, but so many who only knew of him and what he's done for this community.
I like the way Benny Napoleon treated our city, the way he treated residents and everyone he came in contact with.
He saved our day once as a police officer corral member. He gave us permission to go to Washington, D.C. by giving us free vans and a gas card. And that was the compassion out of his heart.
And it's that compassion that has built the foundation of his legacy.
The only solace that I could get out of this is I know that my brother lived a full life, and that I have to keep that, you know, in my memory, that he did live a full life. Even though it was shortened, he did live a full life.
On Detroit's east side, Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
Viewing continues at Swanson Funeral Home on East Grand Boulevard in Detroit until 8 tonight. Visitation continues tomorrow at Greater Grace Temple with a private funeral service to follow. All right, let's check in with Paul Gross to get our first look at the forecast.
Yeah, we did get a little rain and snow so far today. What's coming next, Paul?
Well, I showed you on Local 4 News first at 4 the clearing line that was coming in. Now let's look at our sky cams. Here's our Mount Clemens sky cam. You can see the clearing that's taking place. Now let's shift to our Windsor sky cam. Looking across the river at our skyline, you can see the clearing there. And here we have the temperatures coming in with temperatures around 30 degrees or so. And one more sky cam for you. Here's our Penobscot building sky cam, and you can see there the clearing there. I mean, so this has really taken place over the last couple of hours. Not much on Storm Tracker 4, just a few flurries around. So through the evening hours, not much going on from a snow standpoint. Could be a few scattered snow showers during the overnight period, but during the evening hours, we'll be dropping down through the 20s. We'll have 2 storms to deal with the remainder of this week. We'll talk about both of those coming up, guys.
All right, thank you, Paul. Moving now to the latest coronavirus headlines here in Michigan. The state reporting 3,239 new cases and 60 more deaths over the past 2 days. Now that the COVID relief bill has been signed by President Trump, the state says there will be a delay for people receiving federal unemployment benefits. Right now, the state is advising claimants to complete any outstanding certifications on its website. The state says it has to wait for guidance from the Federal Department of Labor before it can start processing claims. A big moment today in the effort to get Michigan's most vulnerable people vaccinated against COVID-19. Grant Herms is live with a look at what's been happening inside nursing homes and other long-term care facilities. Good evening, Grant.
Karen, good evening. A lot of excitement here. CVS out at care centers like this one behind me today with that super chilled Pfizer vaccine, giving it to staff and residents who have desperately been waiting for help and living in fear for nearly a year of contracting this virus. Excitement and anticipation as the first nursing home patients in Michigan are made immune to COVID-19.
It was enthralling, exciting. I can't even express my feelings over it. What a joy it is that we are getting vaccinated today.
In the Rivergate Terrace Care Center in Riverview, nearly 140 patients and some of the staff were among the first to get their shots. Rivergate will also get another round on January 4th.
It's a hope that everybody was hanging on to. Everybody was very anxiously waiting for it to begin.
Nursing homes and long-term care facilities were some of the hardest hit by COVID-19 after a lack of PPE and training early on, coupled with the state's policies guiding the infected to nursing homes, made them hotspots. Rivergate in particular, so bad, families protested after 20 patients died from the virus back in April. In all, long-term care centers account for more than 35,000 of Michigan's cases and 4,400 deaths during the pandemic. But today, these vaccines mean those high-risk residents will finally get some protection.
Oh my God, the patients and the families are so excited about it. It is probably and hopefully the beginning to the end of the pandemic.
Pharmacy giant CVS is set to dole out the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines at long-term and nursing homes in 1,000 facilities statewide. The hope for many, this late Christmas gift will lead to a happier new year.
It's a pride and honor, a lot of joy. I cannot even express how we are feeling. It's just like you have been released from chains.
Well, the good news here is that families, because of these vaccines, will get to see their loved ones again in person. The bad news is we just don't know when. Many care centers taking this slow. Rivergate here said they've been COVID-free since that outbreak in April, and they're going to keep it that way until they know things are safe. Karen?
Now, Grant, after nursing homes get vaccinated, we understand obviously the distribution expands to other essential workers. Any kind of timeline we're hearing?
We don't know just yet, although it's likely in the coming weeks. The real problem here is, will there be enough of that vaccine? We know that the state was shorted the number of vaccines that it was told in these first few rounds. Now that we're moving into more essential workers and more industries, we're looking at potentially 1 million workers who will need to be vaccinated. Back to you.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you, Grant.
Now that President Trump has finally signed the COVID relief bill, millions of Americans are still asking, what about the stimulus checks? The battle continues on Capitol Hill over whether those checks should be much larger. NBC's Susan McGinnis explains.
Well, while there may be lots of relief among Americans that the COVID bill has been signed into law, here on Capitol Hill, the fight for more goes on.
new battle lines emerge on Capitol Hill.
I am telling Donald Trump, don't just talk about it, act. These Senate Republicans have followed you through thick and thin. Get them now to act and support the $2,000 checks.
Democrats trying to push through bigger payments for Americans, something President Trump demanded even as he signed a $2.3 trillion aid package, which gives $600 in direct relief for Americans, as well as rental assistance. It restarts unemployment programs that expired over the weekend and keeps the government funded.
The House will be in order.
Today, the House seeking to more than triple the direct payments to $2,000, leaving the president oddly aligned with Democrats and opposing his own aides who negotiated the deal, and many Republicans who have come out against the payments.
We've got 20-some days left. We just have to do what's right. And the bottom line is we need to stand up for people that are hurting right now during COVID.
Despite some GOP support, a new bill with higher payments facing an uphill battle in the Senate. President-elect Joe Biden has said whatever is approved now is just a down payment on relief that will be needed early next year. The House also voting today on whether to override a presidential veto of a bill funding the U.S. military. The president objecting to items in it, including protections for social media companies.
With the COVID relief bill signed into law, the stage is now set for another battle for more relief with the next Congress convening in January. In Washington, Susan McGinnis, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Susan. Ahead for us here at 5, investigators still looking for a motive behind the Christmas Day bombing in Nashville. At 5:30, what neighbors of the suspect are sharing.
If you open gifts on Christmas morning and they weren't exactly what you wanted, now you have to start thinking returns. And as you'll see, COVID-19, well, it's also affected how we shop and how we'll return items. I have important information for you coming up in a Help Me Hank report.